Get your special sock out, nerds. It's gonna get good.
Your little cinematic universe is about to change forever. I'm the Messiah. I am Marvel Jesus.
Deadpool and Wolverine. This just feels right.
Welcome back, everyone. Maximum Effort. Marvel revealed some new details from the Deadpool and Wolverine trailers about the upgrades Loki's TVA is giving Deadpool, and they revealed a bunch of deleted scenes that were cut from the movie when they had to stop for the Hollywood strikes last year. A lot of people wondering if the movie got changed. Yes, it did get changed. During that period, Ryan Reynolds, the writers, the director, changed the plot of the movie, so we'll break it all down. And we'll explain what the original X-Men-based story was going to be and how the new version changes that. Even though it still seems like it's going to be a banger, the story that they had planned was way, way crazier. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. We're supposed to get a bigger story-based trailer soon that'll give you a better idea for what's actually happening during the movie, even though the teaser trailers kind of do that already. Of course, I will do videos for whatever they wind up releasing. Hopefully, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman will release some funny parody commercials too that aren't actual trailers. But during the trailers, you see Deadpool do one of the best suit-up montages since the first Iron Man movie. You could think of it as a parody of Iron Man suit-up montages. They've been pretty elaborate through all the movies that he appears in. But it's mostly just meant to be a parody of all suit-up montages in all movies, not just Marvel movies, but all movies. If you look at these new scenes, you can see Deadpool right after he's accepted the job from the new TVA agent played by Matthew Macfadyen from Succession. His name is supposed to be Paradox in the movie because they all have time-themed names, like Mobius. He basically gives Deadpool the same option Mobius gave Loki, even though the room they're in where he's being interrogated looks different from the rooms in Loki. It's the same basic vibe, recruiting them to become TVA agents themselves because they cause Nexus events, turning themselves into variants, and the only other option for them was to get pruned and sent to the Void Planet where everything gets dumped. Which we also see Deadpool getting dumped on in the trailers. But at least at the beginning of the movie, Deadpool accepts the mission and they give him a bunch of TVA upgrades that are way more powerful than his current arsenal of weapons and armor that he's been using in all of his movies. When he comes to the armory here, you can see him open up this door and look at all the weapons and armor they have like a kid in a candy store. The white gloved hand patting his butt, slapping him, grabbing him all over the place is also a Disney Mickey Mouse white gloves joke about them owning the character now. They also reveal there's a lot of very specific Kevin Feige jokes too, like they take a lot of shots at him. There were even jokes about Kevin Feige way back in the first Deadpool movie too. The brand new Deadpool suit that he's given has more armor, even though technically he kind of doesn't need it because he has a healing factor. His armor is mostly there, as he jokes about, so that the bad guys don't see him bleed. Which he does, a lot. But just like Wolverine, he can heal anything except his brain being destroyed because each mutant's ability is controlled in their brains. Same deal with Wolverine's powers, his healing factor, his bone claws. As long as his brain survives, he can heal anything. That's why characters like Headpool can exist, and why you see a lot of comic book panels of Wolverine being carried around as nothing but a skeleton with his head intact. The only real difference with Wolverine is that he has the extra adamantium coating his skull, like an extra layer of protection for his brain, essentially. The other major weapons upgrade to his katanas, some of you may have guessed this too, the TVA gives him adamantium swords, finally. Previously in all the Deadpool movies before this, they were just regular steel swords, if that wasn't clear. No special metals, they were just named B and Arthur, like you can actually see close-up shots here where they're actually named B and Arthur because Deadpool is such a huge stan of the Golden Girls. They even had Betty White do a funny promo for the Deadpool movies in the past.
Hello, I just saw the most anticipated movie of the year, Deadpool. It was glorious. Once in a generation, a movie comes along that your whole family will love. If your family is a up group of kissing inbreds. I give it 4 Golden Girls.
The weird thing before this, though, is that Fox made the previous Deadpool movies. They still controlled the character. They had all the rights to use adamantium, I think because they were just saving a place for him to upgrade to in future sequels had they have kept the character. But then Disney buys Fox, Marvel gets the character back. Now they're the ones that are making Deadpool 3, so they're the ones that introduced that twist, that upgrade during Deadpool 3. The other major story-based reason they're giving him adamantium swords is so that Wolverine, all the Wolverines he encounters, don't immediately slice his swords into pieces the second he shows up. Rewatch Captain America Civil War with Captain America versus Black Panther. Red hot vibranium on vibranium action, Deadpool and Wolverine attacking each other with adamantium weapons basically amounts to the same thing. The unbreakable objects meet the immovable forces. Even though adamantium has very different properties from vibranium, vibranium is mostly known for its ability to reflect force, to store a charge of energy. It's also naturally occurring. All the different kinds of adamantium are man-made alloys. It's mostly known for being unbreakable. There are 13 different kinds of adamantium in the comics. I do not think they're going to get into that detail during the actual movie. In the MCU, the X-Men movies so far, there's only been one kind of adamantium. We'll see if they change that in future movies, though. Only the super powerful cosmic beings, gods, powerful mutants like Magneto can manipulate adamantium and reshape it without extreme technology. Like if Thor hit a piece of adamantium with his hammer, it would only put a little dent in it. But this is also why you see Magneto being able to manipulate Wolverine's adamantium skeleton during that first X-Men movie.
You must be Wolverine. That remarkable metal doesn't run through your entire body, does it?
Iron Man's eventual workaround to that issue, because Magneto did go after him a couple times in the comics, was to develop an Iron Man suit that was not built with any kind of metal. Originally, adamantium was created by a human scientist working for the government who were trying to replicate vibranium, and on accident they wound up creating adamantium. You can see in this footage of Deadpool versus Wolverine in the movie, where they're just laying into each other. Presumably it happens after this moment here on the Void Planet, where Deadpool he ends up in a fight, Wolverine comes up on him, treats him like an enemy at first, trying to kill him. Part of the whole joke here is that they both have adamantium and they both have healing factors, so the fight can just go on and on as they heal the damage that they're doing from each other, and neither one can gain any ground until Wolverine just gets bored of it and Deadpool slowly grinds him down with his motor mouth, and Wolverine agrees to help him. So here's where we get to all the deleted scenes we found out about, what they changed about the movie during the strikes last year, that long break where everybody had to stop filming stuff. Apparently in the original version of the movie, it was going to be way longer, and most of the movie was going to take place in the main X-Men universe timeline, with Deadpool just jumping around inside that X-Men timeline through the different movies. All the original X-Men movies, the First Class era movies, because it's the same timeline, it's just one group of characters that are a little bit younger than the others. They're the same characters now. But also the Fantastic Four movies, they were going to use that for most of their big cameos as well. Some of them we've learned about, but now it's meant to be more of like Spider-Man No Way Home, but for the X-Men characters like X-Men No Way Home. Originally, the movie was meant to be much bigger. It would have been more like Endgame, like X-Men Endgame, with all the original X-Men actors coming back. Now I think it's just going to be some of them, and maybe some of the Fantastic Four characters, some of the other Fox Marvel characters, like Jennifer Garner's Elektra from the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. I think what wound up happening is that Marvel wanted to keep the budget under control, so their compromise was to simplify some of the plot, reduce the cameos a little, and put most of the movie on the Void Planet. So whereas previously they were jumping around the X-Men timeline way more, now they spend way more time on the actual Void Planet from Loki. So they went from like this $500 million level Avengers Endgame, Deadpool Endgame level movie to a slightly smaller Spider-Man No Way Home level movie. Spider-Man No Way Home was still it was still really expensive, but it wasn't quite as big as Avengers Endgame. I also think the Deadpool movies work a little bit better when they're smaller. Like the first Deadpool movie, I still think is a stronger movie than Deadpool 2 because they try to do too much stuff, too many characters in Deadpool 2. But let me know in the comments, which do you prefer? Smaller Deadpool movies, fewer characters, like just core characters, or would you have rather seen the big Avengers Endgame level movie? Personally, I think that it's better that they go this route and they can just save that Endgame level movie for Secret Wars. Like if you're going to make a huge movie with a bunch more cameos, why not make that Secret Wars? You don't need to spend like $500 million making a Deadpool movie. And part of the whole idea with this movie, especially the TVA, the Void Planet from Loki, like all this stuff from the Loki series, is to set up the Void Planet as a version of Battleworld in the MCU, preparing it for Avengers Secret Wars eventually. That's the whole reason why they had the Secret Wars comic book with Dr. Doom on the cover and the Jingo Soda at the end of the trailer. Like, oh, by the way, we're doing Secret Wars. Here's the comic book to prove it. Supposedly, the new Fantastic Four movie is also meant to directly set up Secret Wars. Like, it will end in a way that directly sets that up. That's part of the reason why it's also taking place in an alternate universe. One thing that Deadpool and Wolverine in the new Fantastic Four movie have in common is that they both take place outside the MCU for the most part. Technically, Deadpool and Wolverine is an MCU movie because they have all these MCU references in the trailer, like they talk about, quote-unquote, the MCU cinematic universe. All this stuff from Loki that they're using, like the Void Planet, the TVA, is canon to the MCU. But the actual TVA structure where they're all standing here in the same during the Loki series exists outside of the MCU dimension in its own little pocket dimension. That's part of the reason why it's not affected by the Infinity Gauntlet snaps, Thanos, all the different universes, the different timelines, all the craziness. So if you really want to get technical with it, Deadpool and Wolverine is sort of like MCU adjacent because they're referencing so much MCU stuff, and he's looking at it on the monitors here. It looks like he might dip into some of the timelines briefly, but then by the end of the movie winds up on the Void Planet, which is meant to exist at the end of time, also in its own little space. When you think about Deadpool coming into the traditional MCU, you have to imagine him walking around on the main version of Earth, talking to the other MCU characters, not in some sort of like workaround TVA kind of way. That'll probably eventually happen. Like, there'll be jokes about it during the movie, I'm sure, but after Secret Wars, when they reboot the MCU, like they reboot all the Marvel movies, then Deadpool will be on the traditional main version of Earth with all the other characters like Fantastic Four, all the X-Men characters. It'll be their way of doing a more comic book accurate MCU going forward, like a more truer version of the 616 universe where everybody's always existed together, just like the comics. We'll probably see some more clues and Easter eggs for this in the next couple of trailers that they release, so whatever they wind up dropping, of course I'll do videos for it. Make sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that. And speaking of X-Men, we're in the middle of X-Men 97 episodes. I'm doing videos for all those. I'll put a link for that at the end of this and down in the description below. Everybody click here to learn about all the different Deadpool and different Wolverine variants in the movie, and click here for all my X-Men episodes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.